Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So we are live and in the room together. So just before starting the live stream, we were talking about calming down and letting go of stress and releasing. So maybe let's just start with a theta breath and thinking of the theta breath, the soft hiss, as a way that it can pour out any extra stuff that you don't need to hold on to with that breath. Slowing down the exhale will just naturally calm the nervous system. So starting with theta breath and just tuning into being a person in a body right now. And if it's possible, if you start to feel things spinning or, ideas, stories playing out, see if you can just step to the outside of it and notice that as an energetic pattern, as something that's going on and it's okay and you don't need to change it. So if you start to notice, or even sensation in your bodies, if you can step out just a little bit and notice that this is a life force energy just moving, and you can sort of take it a little bit out of being the personal event happening to you, but more from the outside as, oh, this is just life happening. Imagining that the fluidity of your body is just dropping down into the earth and spreading. So there's no like need to hold up and lift away, but we can drop and spread, maybe even feeling into the backspace. And allowing any kind of movement to bubble up, any micro movement that feels interesting to follow with your awareness, let that come online. With this slow deflation of the lungs, just letting yourself settle and calm, relaxing any tension patterns that you notice. Sometimes the tension patterns are in there and we don't notice them. So inviting your awareness in to sort of move through the biotensegrity system of your body, noticing, is there something here I can let go of? Sometimes when we add movement, it's easier to find those patterns. So if that feels good, adding movement, or if stillness feels good, go ahead and just focus on the rise and fall of the breath. So there's always this natural sort of expansion and contraction happening on a body level, which we can tune into, or we can just let it happen. And let's start to add up kind of like a rounded shape of our mouth with a, if you were going to use your vocal cords, it would be an ooh sound, but without the vocal cords, it's just a. And as you're making that sound, listen to the internal space in your body, if that's possible, feeling into what arises maybe in your imagination or in sensation as you make that really soft and gentle exhale. If it's possible, inhale through your nose after you've made that slow or quicker exhale through your mouth. And that might inspire more stillness or it might inspire more movement. Just notice what the preferences are and lean into them, softening, melting, relaxing, allowing, allowing your system to untangle itself just by releasing and softening. And it can be that it's fun to play with movement without the sound, or it feels interesting, or just to rest, letting yourself dial down, letting your nervous system drop down into the rest and digest, soothe, and settle. And listening into your body for what would feel the best and moving in that direction. Giving yourself permission to let go of doing and simply be. If your body's doing something, that's okay. Doesn't mean that you can't actually do anything. It's kind of like the Tao, do nothing, accomplish everything. So you are allowing the body to move or not move, but you don't have to be gripping into planning or judging, organizing. You're just allowing yourself to let go, or allowing yourself to explore in a very free and easy way. And it isn't to say that sometimes like pushing or pulling or muscular movement can't be involved. It can all come in. If you feel like you know what's going to happen next, or you have sort of created a plan that you're following, let go of that and do something different. So there's this idea that our brain sort of creates an environment from what it already knows. So a lot of our experience is sort of based on experiences we've had in the past. So if we want to create maybe more spaciousness within there, we want to allow new possibilities to bubble up within our patterning so that we're not just locked into the sort of patterns of being that we've held all along. So that we can notice our aliveness as it's happening. So a great way to do that, to allow ourselves to let go of sort of the old brain map, is to, when you feel like you know what you're going to do next, change it to something else within movement, within your body. Or you could also just invite yourself to release the old patterning, release the patterning that might be stuck and or feel stuck, because actually everything's in motion all the time. But if something is feeling stuck or you're feeling kind of churny around one thing, see if you can find a slightly different perspective on that. You might actually even try to locate it just through inquiry. Where is that thing happening? Is it set? Is it even a thing? Inviting in a sense of freedom, inviting in a sense of curiosity. And if you're feeling resistance, what is that even? What are the micro expressions and feelings and sensations of that resistance? Coming back to the ooh or this anytime you want. So using the breath sounds to break up whatever's going on or give you something to focus on where you can stay in that sensation of letting the breath go out or noticing how it arises in your body, what you feel inside, what you sense, or even what you imagine, right? The imagination is our superpower. So give yourself the opportunity to tune into that, images arising, fading away as you play within the movement of your body. And if you feel like the imagination again is spinning on something that you don't want to think about, then just step outside of that a little bit and notice that as life energy flowing. That is you just doing your mind things. So there is some patterning that we can play with that is not really personal patterning. It's more human body patterning. And that is to play with this idea of center to the edge, going out and coming in. Whatever that means to you, we could say core distal, from the core of our body out to the edges, the distal parts, the fingers and the toes, or to the tip of our nose, and then letting it come back in so that we're playing with this away from and towardsness, energy radiating outward, energy returning back in. And within that core distal patterning could be all sorts of spirals, whirlpools, eddies. All sorts of ripples and waves, undulations. Allowing the fluid in your body to really support you. So you and your nervous system can kind of float in there. The water gives us the sensation of connectedness to earth because water is always going to want to go downward. So if we move, we can always know where downward is, where the earth is. As the water moves around our body, the weightedness of our body. And giving yourself freedom to express or move or breathe in ways that might feel different than the normal ways you express or move or breathe. And there isn't a right or a wrong. So, on a deep, deep heart level, accepting whatever arises, and really, really deeply and lovingly accepting yourself with compassion. Compassion for whatever it is you're going through, being a human on the planet at this moment in time. Allowing your body to make the choices of what's going to happen next. As soon as your mind notices that it's doing something or has a plan, let go of that and go somewhere different. I'm going to add some music and just let us explore with that. Let the music feed your movement. Let the music inspire whatever arises. You can play with that core distal center to edge. Information coming and going from the inner to the outer, from the outer to the inner. And you can also play with the natural growing and shrinking of the breath, the internal shape shifting with your organs, your spine, your lungs, your heart as you breathe and move. Really allowing breath to participate fully in your experience. And it can be this movement between really active and really passive energies in your body, allowing and releasing, letting it go. And then maybe you really feel the need to have a big stretch or push into something. Allow that to happen. Listening to the wisdom of your own system and trusting it. The deep wisdom. body to process any changes that are in your life happening, giving yourself time to take in what's going on. And the processing doesn't even have to happen in the conscious level. It can just be on the subconscious level with the invitation. Even if things are going really well, sometimes it takes us time to integrate a different feeling in our life, like being happier or things being easier or adjusting to new circumstances. Like I just traveled and like coming back. It took a couple of days and I'm still adjusting to that. Just being gone for 1 week in another place, like what is the physical level of adjustment to come back to that, to be in my home with my partner and with my cats and with my life. And not to come back to what was, but to come back to what is right now, what really is happening, what is now. Sometimes we don't even notice like the support that's around us. Sometimes we feel stressed out and we can't notice the support that is actually happening, even within our own system. Sometimes it's in our system, sometimes it's outside of ourselves. So whatever we how we conceive of the world and the things that are happening in it and to us and all that, sometimes our perception of them might be very different than someone else's perception. So maybe allowing yourself to open up your awareness to the support coming in, opening up to what is there. Something that I feel like I've learned a lot in the past few years is how to actually not do something, to not say something, to not feel like I have to go fix something, but just let it be what it is. I don't have to try and control other people or their relationships with other people or anything like that. Just letting them do their thing. Sometimes you think, oh no, I've got to fix this. I got to organize this. Oh no. But what if you don't? What if you just let go of that? I'm not saying, don't put out the fire. If you see the fire, go for it. But sometimes we take more responsibility for fixing everything. And maybe we could just go inside and work with ourselves a little bit instead of getting all amped up about what's happening on the outside. listen to our own bodies. Does it feel right to do that thing? Or does it feel slightly wrong? And this is coming from a person who has worked very hard to force things through many times. What if I just didn't force it? What if I allowed the things that were coming down the stream, letting to help manifest the things that are easily manifesting and not pushing so hard to manifest other things? So finding some skill in being in the world in a way that also feels supportive of me. Which is one reason why I teach these classes, is because I know that this supports me. My body needs to do it, and it's way better for me if there's other people involved too. So thank you. Like breathing. We can breathe without doing anything. We can just let it happen. Or we can play with our breath with different ways of breathing, building new patterning and new possibility. But we don't have to do it. Our heart is going to beat. We don't have to contract it, move that blood through our body. It's going to happen anyway. And inside of our skin, we're supported. There are pressure systems, there's fascia, there's bones, there are things creating our form. We don't have to do so much to hold ourselves up. To share that was Jeff Gersh, Ambient Fields. That album is number 3, and that was song number 1. It's available on Bandcamp. There's my ad for Jeff. He's amazing. Giving yourself just a chance to come in, all the stuff that happened, let it percolate into your system. I just want to share something. So this is like my own sort of art integration, being a person process. And I was in California at the Alembic in Berkeley, which is this meditation movement center that I'm helping do some programming for. And Christina Lazar, who's a sort of visionary artist, amazing human, did this art integration event. And so I'm just going to share this with you. So the invitation was to think of a peak experience that you'd had and then use art to integrate it. So the first thing we did was lay down the color and then kind of scoop up some of the color with a plastic saran wrap so that like you can see the orange was the main color, and then you can see the sort of white areas are where the color got scooped up. And so you took your idea and just allowed the art to speak to you in whatever way came through. And then you're supposed to like just find the shapes and draw without having a plan of what you're going to draw, but draw what you see in the shapes and what comes up for you. So I'm just going to explain this because this, I feel like, has a lot to do with the stuff that I'm working with as a person. And so my peak experience was a moment when I was actually on Zoom we were doing a Wild Empress Coven ritual, solstice ritual or something, and I was dancing, and it was just so connected. Like I just felt like so alive and so connected. And also that my energy was so radiating out into the world. And so my question for myself, or what I wonder is like, how do I, in that peak moment, I was like, I want this in my life, right? This extension out into the world, this total sense of connection. And so it's interesting that the first creature that appeared in my art is this sort of seahorse water dragon who has no arms, right? This seahorse water dragon is just suspended in whatever he's suspended in, or she. And so it was like, oh, this idea, this radiation out isn't about radiating outward. It's really about just being present with and letting myself be suspended within my life, suspended within my body, like supported. I just have to hang there. I don't have to do all these things. So that was like the biggest teacher in the art integration. There are other creatures in here and people. There's a little cat on a chariot. So there's like some tarot popping up. That's kind of like the Hierophant and the Emperor. But I just wanted to share that because a lot of times we have an idea of how things should be and what should happen. And sometimes the whole picture is really there, but from the consciousness that we're in, we can't see that we're actually getting what we need. Like we're here in our life pattern and this is it. There's not something else. There isn't something to achieve that somebody can sell you or offer you. There's only coming in and integrating and maybe appreciating it a little bit. That's me saying it. That's my version of it. Of course, yours might be totally different, but just the idea is that everything is there and we can find ways to swim or be suspended within our life in ways that become more and more supportive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Support is a big thing. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to shut off the live stream. So if you have joined us, I think there's been a person who joined us, so thank you and for making it this far. And if you see this on the reboot, thank you then.